They brought 10 ships. Counselor Jex could barely hold in his laugh. 10, he said again, just to feel the ridiculousness of it echo in the chamber. Do they realize what they're walking into? We've got 5,000 vessels stationed. In this sector alone. Terran arrogance, muttered General Kolzer, his voice bored. They always overestimate their place in the cosmos. A few planets, a few colonies, a few hundred years of spaceflight. They act like they matter. Another voice chimed in, this one sharper. Still, they made it to the accord table. Jex turned, smiling. Yes, after 2 decades of being ignored. Now they come crawling with their, what do they call it? The Terran Defense Unity? Kolzer smirked. Sounds like a student militia. Snickers circled the chamber like scavengers. On the central screen, a rotating scan of the Terran formation displayed 10 ships. Crude, boxy shapes, angular frames. Matte black plating that absorbed rather than reflected the system's light. No. Weapon signatures we recognize, said the scanning officer. No communication attempts. No IFF transponders. Their leader's ship is simply marked TDS Wrath. Wrath? Jex repeated, rolling the word in his mouth like it tasted bitter. Dramatic. Primitive, Kolzer corrected. Then the lights flickered just once, barely a second, but long enough. Every eye turned toward the ceiling. What was that? Minor fluctuation, the tech responded quickly. Local generator shift due to orbital gravity flux. Nothing unusual. Jex waved it off. Even their presence is annoying, Kolzer leaned forward. So what do? We show them what a real fleet looks like. He tapped his pad. Dozens of hollow icons bloomed into view, each representing a sector fleet, surrounding the Terran ships in an elegant crescent formation. Let them see the difference between playing war and owning it. The council chamber dimmed as the projection darkened. Then a new image.love feed from outer orbit. Terran fleet, 10 ships. Theirs, 5,000, and yet. Silence. No Terran signals, no shields raised. Not even defensive alignment. Are they malfunctioning? Someone asked. They're not even adjusting position, another said. It's like they're waiting. They'll wait a long time. Jex leaned back, folding his arms. Kolzar's voice was less amused now. Run a deep scan. Already did. And the officer hesitated. Kolzar's voice sharpened. And they're not hollow. What does that mean? No heat readings, no crew signatures, no biosigns. But each vessel weighs as much as a dreadnought. All core locked. Completely solid. Like they're built from one piece. Another. Silence. Jex raised an eyebrow. Then who's flying them? I don't know, sir. Kolzer stood. I want fighter wings deployed. Passive only. Flybys. Make them twitch. Jex nodded. If they blink, we move. On screen, hundreds of interceptors. Launched from the sector fleet. Like metallic locusts, they swarmed toward the Terran formation in tight spiral patterns, fast, smooth, showing off. One passed within 20 meters of the Terran flagship. No. Response. Another looped directly above its hull. Still nothing. A third. Veered a little too close, its signal winked off the feed. What happened? Lost telemetry. Recover it. We can't. It's gone. Jex frowned. Gone how? Just gone. No debris. No signal. One frame it existed, next frame it didn't. Another fighter tried a similar path. Same result. Then a third. Then 4 more. All vanished. No fire. No retaliation. Just erased. Kolzar's voice darkened. Are they using gravity weapons? No evidence of any gravitational distortion. Then how the hell are our ships disappearing? Jex stood now too. A fourth screen lit up an unauthorized feed. From within one of the fleet's outer dreadnoughts, The camera shook violently. Sirens blared. Crew shouted. Then came the scream. One word. Over and over. It's inside. The feed cut. The council chamber dropped into silence again. Inside what? Jex asked, his voice lower. Colzer didn't answer. The orbital feed. Refreshed. 9 Terran ships remained. The 10th was missing. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Just absent. As if it had simply decided not to be seen anymore. Colzer whispered, "Where? Did it go?" Another screen cracked to life grainy static. Then, a single phrase in Terran script, pulsing in dull red against black. "You mock the size. Now learn the weight." Colzer whispered, "Was that a threat?" "No," Jex said. He looked pale now. "That was a countdown. And that was before Earth even responded. You're holding back." Commander Ren Vale didn't look up from the data stream scrolling across the HOLO display. Behind him, Lieutenant Mira Cade leaned against the bulkhead wall, arms crossed, staring out the panoramic shield glass of the TDS Wrath's bridge. 10 ships. 10 shadows in orbit, against 5,000 alien vessels curved, elegant, glowing with all the arrogance of technological pride. And the Terrans didn't even blink. Ren's voice was level. "We're not here to escalate. We're here to remind." Mira scoffed. "Remind them what?" Ren finally looked at her. "That we don't need numbers." The bridge was dim, lit only by quiet pulses of data passing across stations. No chatter. No panic. Just the low thrum of a ship designed to feel like nothing and strike like judgment. Mira pushed off the wall and walked forward. 3 of their interceptors touched our edge. "I know," Ren said. "They're gone." "I know." She studied him. "Do we report it?" Ren didn't answer immediately. He tapped a control on the console. A silent video played slow orbit cam of a fleet pilot's ship. The frame stuttered. 1 frame. Ship visible. Next frame. Gone. Not even vapor left. Ren paused the feed and said quietly, "If we report it, they'll panic. If they panic, they'll attack." Mira exhaled. "And if they attack?" Ren didn't blink. "Then we stop pretending." The screen shifted again. Fleet layout, updated in real time. 5,000 ships. Precision alignment. Deadly formations. And right in the middle of it 10 Terran vessels, unmoving, unshielded. What did they see when they look at us? Mira asked, almost to herself. "Something weak," Ren said. "Something small. Something they can handle." Pause. "Because we let them believe that." Mira leaned on the console. "They scanned the fleet structure, right? They think we've got minimal crew." "They're not wrong," Ren said. "This ship only needs 8 to function. The others need less." "Why?" Ren turned. "Because the rest of the work is automated." She stared at him. "AI." He shook his head. "No, worse." The word hung there. Worse. Ren walked to the central command node and placed his palm on the scanner. The interface shifted. No longer military-grade UI. Now it looked like a mind, not a machine, not synthetic. Just something. Other. A quiet pulse of red moved across the screen. It read, "To DSW Arthech awake." Myra whispered, "That's not normal." "Software." "No," Ren said. "Is it aware?" "Yes." "Is it stable?" Ren answered with silence, and that told her everything. She took a breath. "Why did we build them like this?" "Because we knew one day they'd laugh at us. Because we knew one day we'd be outnumbered. Because we knew they'd forget who we are." Myra's voice dropped. "What are we?" Ren looked out the viewport again, at the fleet beginning to tighten its noose. Species who build monuments to restraint, but design death just in case we have to speak louder. The cum crackled. Fleet command to Terran vessels. Final notice. Disengage or be fired upon. Myra's hand hovered near the retaliation key. Ren didn't move. They're waiting for a show of fear, and if we don't give it, they'll make the first mistake. Outside, 3 more interceptors accelerated toward them. Ren tapped the console. Let one through. Mira blinked. Sir? He nodded once. Let one get close. She obeyed. The interceptor closed fast, too fast. It locked weapons. Just a scan confirm click away from releasing fire. And then it stopped. Hard. Its lights dimmed. Its signal faded. Inside. Its pilot tried to scream, but the sound didn't travel, because the pilot was no longer in space. He was somewhere else, somewhere the Wrath had prepared. A separate dimension, artificially spun open for 2 seconds. Just long enough for his consciousness to realize it had no mouth left to scream with. Mira's voice cracked. Sir, what did you... Ren's voice cut like ice. We showed mercy, for the last time. Another comping. Fleet broadcast urgent. Channel. Unidentified Terran vessel. One of your 10 has disappeared from orbital view. Confirm location immediately. Ren tapped a response. No. The com flickered. This is an active combat zone. You must confirm ship location. Ren's eyes stayed locked on the screen. Then find it. He shut the com. Mira swallowed. It moved? It was always moving. You just never saw it. She stared at the empty black patch on the orbital feed where the missing Terran ship had been. What do we do now? Ren turned, slow and calm. Now? He walked to the center of the bridge, placed his hand over the final lock, and whispered the one phrase no human had spoken in 70 years. Remove the limiter. The ship responded instantly. Outside. Space seemed to bend. Not from energy. Not from light, but from fear itself. The Wrath began to hum. Not in sound. In intention. And above. Every alien ship received one line of text. You laughed at the tiny fleet. Now face the smallest of us. Fleet Master Krylos Vex had led wars against civilizations older than his bones. He had seen suns broken open, moons turned to glass, and enemy leaders begging in transmission feeds seconds before their warships were reduced to ash. He had crushed fleets for sport, cleansed systems in single cycles. So why now was his hand trembling? He stared at the orbital feed where the Terran fleet had once hovered. 9 remained. 1 was gone. Pull full sweeps of the surrounding sectors, he ordered sharply. Track jump trails. Find that missing ship. No trails, his officer replied. Nothing entered hyperspace. Nothing went stealth. It just stopped registering. Ships don't vanish. They do now. Vex whipped around, mandibles twitching. Say that again? The officer looked up, pale and sweating. Sir, I didn't mean. Say it again. They do now. The bridge fell silent. Vex turned back to the display. 9 Terran ships, unmoving. Still showing no visible weapons, no signal activity, no AI chatter. 10 minutes ago, he'd called them ornamental. Now, he wasn't so sure. Replay the last 10 seconds before it vanished. The screen stuttered through the orbital cam's frame history. 10 ships. 10.10. Then -9. No. Blur. No flare. Just gone. Like a bad memory wiped mid-sentence. Sir, came another voice, this one from Tactical Deck 1. Our forward reconnaissance squadrons are reporting anomalies. What kind? Local time distortion, gravity pulses. Reflections that don't correspond to ship positions. Like, something's echoing us. Vex's blood turned cold. Echoing? Yes, sir. As if there's another set of ships behind? Them, but invisible, mirroring, and closer than expected. He looked again at the screen. Still 9 Terran ships. Still motionless, still waiting. But now, it felt like the waiting wasn't passive. It was strategic. Sound general fleet-wide. Alert, Vex growled. Hold formation. Charge primary cannons. Do not fire unless fired upon. Understood. He paced to the center of the bridge. They brought 10 ships to mock us, he said aloud. Let them see what 5,000 vessels of the coalition can do when provoked. But even as he said it, something clawed at the back of his skull. A voice. Not a real one, a memory. Small things become dangerous when you laugh too loud to notice their teeth. He shook it off. Sir, his lieutenant said slowly, I have a request coming through. One of the Terran ships is transmitting directly to your console. Private channel. No encryption. Vex raised a brow. Put it through. A single line appeared on his interface. We suggest you evacuate Section 6 Delta. He blinked. Where is 6 Delta? The bridge tech turned pale. It's where our central munitions barge is currently docked. Why would they know that? I don't know, sir. Vex's claws tightened on the rail. Have we been scanned? No, sir. No energy sweeps detected. No AI infiltration. Then? How do they know? I don't know, sir. Before he could respond, the bridge dimmed. Not a blackout. Not an attack. Just dimmed out as if the universe had flinched. Get visuals on 6 Delta now. Vex roared. The screen shifted. The munitions barge was still there, half a kilometer long, surrounded by escort fighters. Then, the space behind it peeled open like paper. Not a warp rift. Not a JUMPGATD. Just air folding around a shape. The missing Terran ship appeared. No weapons. No. Shield charged. It phased into existence like a ghost remembering it had a body. The bridge fell deathly quiet. Vex stepped forward. Are we being jammed? No, sir. Then hail them. Already tried. No response. He stared at the screen. The Terran ship turned slowly like a predator, glancing over its shoulder at prey that didn't know it had already been bitten. Then it moved, not toward them. Just through them. Through one of their escort cruisers. No impact. Just passage. The cruiser vanished midsection. The front half floated for 2 seconds, then detonated into a silent flare of light. No debris struck nearby vessels. No shockwave. Just quiet deletion. Sound evacuation for 6 Delta. Vex barked, but it was too late. The Terran ship moved once. More. It stopped beside the barge. And then, without touching it, the entire 600-meter vessel vanished. One frame there. One frame gone? No explosion? None. Where did it go? Nowhere. That answer didn't make sense, but no one argued, because no one could. The Terran vessel turned again and began to fold out of space, disappearing like it had never been there, like reality had borrowed it briefly, and was now returning it to myth. Vex sank into his chair, not in defeat, but in revelation. He whispered, We thought they brought 10 ships. That was never the truth. The comm panel lit again. Same Terran voice as before, but this time it was vocal. Human, cold, calm. You were given a chance to mock us. The voice was quiet, unhurried, and now you will remember us. The message ended, but the silence that followed wasn't empty. It was charged. Across the fleet, dozens of ships reported sensor glitches. Time delays, spatial overlays, like reality was wrong. Vex stared out at the 9 remaining Terran ships. And now he couldn't help but wonder how many others were watching, still hidden. How many Terran ships were inside his formation? Inside his sector? Inside his walls? He turned to his officers, voice steady now. Do not fire unless fired upon. Hold formation. Log all anomalies. Tell the Council. Earth didn't bring a fleet. He paused. They brought a lesson. The bridge fell quiet again, and outside, The 9 Terran ships didn't move. They didn't need to, because one of them had already taught a truth that couldn't be buried, and the rest were just waiting for someone else to dare. The 9 Terran ships hadn't moved in over 2 hours. They just floated there, black mirrors against starlight, their surfaces swallowing every photon, reflecting nothing. No insignias, no emblems, not even a name anymore. Just silence. The Coalition Council emergency channel crackled to life. 12 races, 50 admirals, and hundreds of warships locked in orbit around the Terran formation, waiting for anyone to explain what had just happened to Fleet Sector 6-Delta. No one could. Fleet Master Krylos Vex had gone silent. His bridge feed froze mid-sentence. His flagship's comms had been replaced with a repeating pulse. A single phrase, "Remember us." No one knew where it came from. It wasn't transmitting. It was embedded, spliced directly into the fleet's core itself. No encryption, no virus. Just a message that didn't want to be turned off, and then a second line appeared. "You? We'll never find the ship again." The room went cold. Not the temperature. The air. The silence. The absence of noise where pride once lived. Chancellor Threx of the Velari Empire slammed his fist on the control table. "This is cowardice. Tricks, Terran bluffery. We should have fired when we had the chance." Another voice, older and quieter, spoke across the transmission. "No," said High Strategist Voron of the Arashi Mindsworn. "We did fire. We just didn't know it." Confused. Silence. He continued. "That missing cruiser? The one our fighters lost contact with before the encounter?" "Destroyed." "No," Voron said. "Returned." "To where?" "To them." Across the galaxy, a chilling trend emerged. Old reports. Archived incidents. Vanished scouts. Lost colonists. Ghost signals. Dismissed anomalies. All reappeared, one by one. Coalition servers lit up with recovered logs. Not from their systems. From Earth. Terran intelligence had been collecting everything for decades, watching every insult, every experiment, every accidental incursion into Terran sectors. And now they were sending it back. No commentary. Just evidence. Screens flooded with video, transcripts, captured audio of laughter, of cruelty, of mockery from species that once believed Earth was just another primitive footnote. They laughed at Earth's size. They mocked its diplomacy. They counted its ships and miscounted its resolve. And now, in every fleet's data core permanently embedded was a simple signature left behind by the Terran AI net. "We were never small. You were just far away." Then came the blackout. Across 37 sectors, lights failed. No sound. No explosions. Just a hush. Systems rebooted 30 seconds later. No damage. Nothing destroyed. Except every single flagship had its weapon systems disabled. Not broken. Not jammed. Gone. Wiped clean at the firmware level. Irreversible. Dozens of admirals screamed across the comms. Orders were shouted. Hands flew across controls. Nothing worked. Terran ships didn't move. They didn't need to. The war had already ended. Before it began. In the orbital shadow of the planet Karos 9, aboard the TDS Wrath, Commander Renvale stood at the helm, arms behind his back, gaze fixed forward. "They're done," Mira said behind him, reading her panel. "No more retaliation orders. No scans. Half the fleet is powering down. They're surrendering." Ren didn't react. He just watched the stars. "You ever wonder what they'd do if we did fire?" Myra hesitated. "Would we win?" Ren's voice was soft. There wouldn't be a war left to win. Behind them, the ship's interface pulsed with one final phrase from the Wrath Central Core. "Balance restored." Ren turned, pull us back into full depth. Let them stare at the empty sky a while." "Yes, sir." Mira tapped the command. Outside, the Terran ships began to dissolve, not cloaking, not jumping, just disappearing, as if the universe had been temporarily renting their presence. Within 30 seconds, the entire fleet was gone. Across the stars, every race that once laughed at the tiny fleet now had a new name for it, the Judgment Line, because the next time they saw even one of those ships, they wouldn't ask for mercy. They'd pray they hadn't already been judged.